Hello, everybody. You are here on He Said, She Said, and today Dennis and I have some fun topics that we are going to be talking about. We are going to be talking about TikTok. You can see he's got his TikTok up already. How old is too old for TikTok? And we're just curious because I always thought I was too old to be on TikTok, but we'll talk about that in a few to see if you think I'm too old or Dennis is too old to be on TikTok or not. We're also going to be talking about Clubhouse, which is the newest social audio platforms, kind of different, but we'll talk about Clubhouse. And then we're going to have a WTF moment, right? We can't go today without talking about Gorilla Glue Girl and and everything that's happening with that. So we kind of have some fun topics lined up.
I have a very personal story to tell about Gorilla Glue and some really interesting insights. So we're going to cover that last, but I have actually done business with Gorilla Glue and in social media and some other interesting facts around that. So this is years ago, but I will share that personal story with you all today. And yeah, I'm dropping my TikTok. Follow me on TikTok at Dennis Schiraldi. I'm making the same exact mistake that I made on Instagram. I don't learn from my mistakes, apparently.
What was your mistake on Instagram?
And so I probably should be developing some sort of dad, like Instagram or TikTok, like site that's where I build my audience, right? With dads or people, right? Because this is me dominating my kids right now in the driveway during quarantine.
Yeah.
This was me hitting a bomb across the street and then bat flipping it and just rubbing it in their little noses that I took them yard. Now, that's me on TikTok. And I utilize my own social media platforms as a test kitchen because obviously when people come to me for social media advice, I need to know what I can talk. I can't theorize it. I have to know it, right?
Absolutely.
And so my Instagram strategy started like that 8 years ago. Like I was like, oh, let me just, and I dabble like, and so it's always never been like developing more of my personal brand, but more along the lines of let me understand this so I can roll this out to businesses, which I have my own. But then that's what I kind of done with TikTok. And so you can follow me on TikTok if you want to see all sorts of fun stuff with me dominating my kids along the way.
So do you use TikTok for business or just for fun?
And by the way, I've taken a lot of heat over my own TikTok feed. So like, this is another one that I made. I don't know if you can hear the sound, but it's the one with the ocean spray. And like, oh, by the way, the bat flip challenge has over 500,000 views. It's approaching 500,000 views on TikTok. It went viral.
Is it really?
Yeah. And so then this is me snowboarding with my kids and like, the ocean spray challenge and like something's missing. So I work that in to the strategy. And then here's me with face off and I'm just posting funny stuff. That's actually my face.
That's funny.
Can you hear
it? I like that.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And now how long have you been on TikTok?
And then, like, I mean, we're just doing quarantine was interesting because obviously there was so much activity on TikTok, people doing dances, it was connecting people. But I was on TikTok before it was TikTok. So it was Musically and it was bought out by obviously TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go all the way back here. I don't know what year this is, but this is my first TikTok video. So that's 2016. I'm an OG. Like
you are an OG.
Yeah. And then we got into, I don't know if this one has music to it or not. No, they took them. It's odd. Like when they bought out, they stripped out some of the music. So I just screw around. Like
I think that's fun though. Look at her.
That's my daughter. in case you were wondering. And if there's any sort of attitude there, I mean, and dance moves, she gets them all from me. So um, I find so I end up creating some content in TikTok, and then I jailbreak it because of the music aspect, and I've leveraged it in the several different ways across social media, in my stories on Instagram. Or one of my clients, Rich Center for Autism, was doing a carry lip sync battle. So you're limited as to what you can do in terms of music, obviously on the internet, because it's all on lockdown, right? You got to have the rights to use it, but TikTok gives you those rights. So there was one video that we made, and I don't know exactly where it is, that we used. Actually, we used Paulina's dance video, and then there's one more dance video that we utilized to. Let me stop my screen share so that we utilize that video in the promotion for the lip sync battle challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think
So,
we're too old for
I have
TikTok.
a question for you then. So you say that, right, like you will use TikTok and then repurpose it onto Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you do reels?
No.
So how do you feel about Instagram saying that if it has the TikTok label, which it will when you share it there, that they're going to push it down as far as priority? It's not going to have as big of a reach anymore.
I don't.
You don't care?
No.
Okay.
And the reason I don't care is because if you're going to manage your social media based upon what social media platforms are telling you, based upon what that engagement is, you're going to lose. Like, there's so many rules now across the platforms. You can't ask for shares, you can't run contests, you can't do this, you can't do that. And across the different platforms, I'm just like, look, like, I'm creating content that I think that makes me laugh, and some of it's enjoyable. I'm learning along the way as I go what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm not ultimately concerned about like what Instagram likes, or they say they like. I think we're all guessing about that.
Well, in a lot of cases, I would agree that we are guessing, but just recently, the actual slides were leaked, and I tried. I don't take anything at face value, but I did test it out, and I saw a huge difference in engagement and reach and followers, and
How so?
it's pretty cool, huh?
How so?
On it, how so?
Yeah.
What do you mean? My engagement was like over 1,000% in comparison.
On Instagram.
On Instagram, once I implemented that and gave it a shot to see if it worked, because I don't know. They say slides leaked, and let's see if it worked. And then once it did work for me, then I shared it on my blog, and I shared it again, of course, on Instagram. But yeah, I
What
definitely
did
saw
you
a
share
difference.
to get better engagement?
Pardon me?
What did you share to get better engagement?
Instagram slides leaked. They worked with creatives recently,
Okay.
and they were telling them what to do in order to increase their reach, right? What they're looking for, what their ideal formula is. Of course, like you said, right? You can search the internet and you're going to find a million different things. Because this was said that it came right from Instagram and it was leaked, I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot. So I did. I did exactly what it said, and I saw a huge difference.
What did it say? Like, what were some of the...
You're going to have to go to my blog at sassygirlentrepreneur.com and check it out. No, it was telling you like the formula, and I don't remember verbatim, but it's like 3 posts. It wants like 1 to 3 posts, like actually in your feed.
In your feed.
I'll double it up.
A day?
No, a week. A week.
1 to 3 a week.
Wants reels is the hot thing, obviously.
Reels,
that's not a surprise. I think they wanted 4 to 7 reels a week, which is a lot. You could share and I'm going to my blog right now so that I can pull it up and I don't mess anything up if anybody's listening, but you can share like your reel or your IGTV actually in your feed, and that can count as a post in your feed. They want 1 to 3 IGTVs and 8 to 10 stories a week. In fact, and I did that. And it's not that far off from what I was doing. Probably the biggest challenge that I had to do was actually start creating reels. But I had a blast doing it.
So getting back to, and we're going to have the shiny new objects conversation as well sometime today, because obviously we're talking about some new social media platforms and applications within platforms. And the reason why obviously Instagram develops under the ownership of Facebook is that they're competitive and they want to keep you in the Instagram platform. It's why Snapchat, that's why you're seeing like stories and ephemeral content that disappears is the thing, because they're all like, wow, Snapchat's onto something, let's develop something. So let's get back to the real rub. So are you long in the tooth? By the way, I know that you left our conversation last week to go get your hair done.
I did. I did. I had an appointment.
You didn't acknowledge that, though.
Well, do I need to? It was an appointment. If I said, oh, I have to go because I have a hair appointment, you'd be like, what? But if I just say I have an appointment.
You know how I busted you?
How?
Social media.
Oh, yeah. Well, it wasn't really a secret.
I don't know. You said you had an appointment.
I did. A hair appointment.
Yeah.
You know what? I learned that a long time ago when I really, and you know what? I don't even think about it, but a long time ago, if I would say that when my kids are young and playing baseball, if I would say, oh, I have to take kids to baseball, that, right? People would think that I didn't take what I was doing seriously. Men, typically. I'm going to just say it as it is, right? Other moms got it because they were running all over. But if I was dealing with somebody who was a man, they typically, back in the day, now my kids are in my 20s, so we're going to go back 10 years ago, right? Things I think are different now is entrepreneurship has grown a whole lot. But no, they didn't understand it. They're like, well, you shouldn't do that. Have somebody else do it. So I quit saying that I had to take my kids to baseball or I had a doctor's appointment or anything that was personal. I just said I had an appointment.
I think, unfortunately, we are off the topic and we will get back on it. We're both too old for TikTok. I think that we frown upon and we look down upon, because of stupid ass hustle culture, of personal time is weakness time in entrepreneurial world. And so the more we work is oftentimes the badge of honor and the badge of courage, which I think is completely wrong.
No.
And the fact is that last Friday I was able to blow off work and pay now, pay later principle and go spend a day with my kids snowboarding.
Yeah.
And the job offer that recently came in, that was like great, but what am I going to do during baseball season? Like,
yeah,
I'm not giving that up. Like, one kid's last year Little League and where they're at, so like, I hear you. I think that it's universal that we frown upon taking personal time because we're not working.
Well, I think, and at that time, in all fairness, I was doing the 9 to 5 grind, right? But I had flexibility. I had flexibility to do that with the job I was working. However, I was still in that corporate world where it was typically unacceptable. I find it much more acceptable in the small business world because I think just more people get it, right? The mindset is totally different as an entrepreneur, and people get it a lot more. But I agree, I'm not for the hustle. I mean, I work hard, but I like my freedom. I like spending time with my family. I appreciate all those things. I don't think those are bad things. And I think when you can find a way to do it and balance the two, like, I envy that in people. I don't envy the one that's like, I work 12 hours for 7 days. God bless you. I don't want that. I don't want
that.
No.
All right, listen, if you are on the feed, do us a favor, share this. Let's invite some of your friends. We're going to talk TikTok Clubhouse, some valuable tips and tricks there. Share your TikTok handle in the comments so we can follow each other.
Yeah.
And Deanna and I both have the coveted Willy Wonka tickets to get invited to Clubhouse. So if you are on and you want to go on Clubhouse, I've got 3 right now. I'm willing to part with 1 today.
Yeah, I have 6.
You already know me.
All right, so
I have
for about a month now.
Ooh, I think
let's talk TikTok. Are you too old to be on TikTok?
So I thought yes for a long time. I'm like, I'm not going on TikTok. I checked it out, right? Because you've got to be aware of it. If you're doing what we do, you have to know.
Okay.
None of my clients were in the age of the TikTok, right? Or what I thought of a TikToker. So no, you've been on it for a long time. I've not. I haven't seen a purpose. I'm now on TikTok thanks to my intern, the lovely Sydney Frost. She encouraged me. Well, she pretty much didn't give me a choice. And I kind of like that. She was like, no, you need to be on TikTok. So, hey, what the heck? I hopped on. And can I just tell you that I don't take TikTok seriously. I don't, but it's a lot of fun. And the one thing that I can say is that I've been on social media for so long, you kind of start going through the motions, and being on TikTok and creating these short little video clips have been so entertaining to me that it's like the fun is back in it, right? So I've really enjoyed it. How about you?
Yeah, so I do. Like I enjoy it. Figuring I get lost, and I have to be very careful. I get lost scrolling through TikTok videos.
Yeah, they're hysterical. Some of them are so good and so fun.
And I look, like that video I shared, I mean, it's got, I think at last glance, 481,000 views. And so there's still the viral lottery that you can hit. And it's not necessarily on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's Chewbacca mom syndrome. It's Ocean Spray. Like the guy that made the Ocean Spray video, turns out they bought him a truck. He got a car. He got sponsorship. He got endorsement. And so there is still the opportunity, I think, unlike a lot of social media platforms that are out there, to hit that viral lottery. And I don't like it when people are like outlandish for outlandish sakes to try to get, you could really see through who's like trying to get, views.
Yeah.
But in the same note, like there's some really entertaining people on TikTok that actually brightens my day. So now the question becomes, all right, well, Dennis, that's great. You got 481,000 views. So now the marketer in you is like, what's the benefit to you into that? Like, are you like hitting an audience? Are you, what's your purpose? Why are you doing this? Right.
Right. I'm not hitting my audience on TikTok at all. The most, and again, I'm new on TikTok, right? One of my posts did really well where I had like 49 comments and 300 and some likes. And to me, that was like a huge deal because I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm going viral, which I'm clearly not going viral, right?
Right.
But I got one post, got a lot of attention, and it was all men. And it was all, I mean, some were people from Florida because I mentioned that in there. I did that one little thing, like my age is 50 and my sign is that, like, right. I did that one and people were commenting and I liked the feedback. I liked the ones that just were commenting, telling me what their sign was or where they're from. And some people were like, hey, I'm from Ohio too. Like those are really, really cool. Right. But most of them were not, but it was still a lot of fun. I don't want to take that away from it. It was fun. The stuff I'm doing on TikTok is not really geared as much towards business as it is just having a good time right now.
I don't want it to be. So like I'm
I
always
don't
out,
either.
we're talking, here's how you use social media, here's SEO, here's this, here's that, and like so I'm cool with TikTok maybe being that platform that shares my personal life off as is like Instagram, but I'm cool with TikTok showing off my personal life, my personal brand, the behind the stories. Like if I showed you the wall right now, unfortunately Leo got a black Sharpie and just walked down the hallway, right? And so like that's my craziness in my life, but like, we talk about, which appropriate content for LinkedIn or not. And so like that's how I'm using it. Now, ultimately, if there's an end game in mind, which I don't know that there is that from my own brand perspective, as I've built up audiences across the web, it's another area that I'm building an audience.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I go to the pizza shop, or when I go to, hey, right now, like I'm working on sponsorships, right? And so like, yeah, like I can sell that. I could package that.
Yeah.
I've got an audience. It's not going to be, you got to be comfortable with the type of content, and it's going to be a fun content, but I can include you into that story like a lot of other places to get eyeballs on the content and have influence.
Yeah.
I hate that word, but I have influence with putting you in my feed and getting you exposure. Do you want that or not? Is that valuable to you or not? And so that's kind of like the end game. Isn't that all advertising? Isn't that all community building? Build the
Yeah.
community and then and figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm curious, who is on TikTok that's watching right now? If you're watching this live or on the replay, if you follow Dennis or I on TikTok, in fact, please do. I will follow you back. I'm sure Dennis will as well.
by the
But
way, you want to see something crazy?
sure.
Okay. So what's crazy is, are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Am I sharing my desktop?
Oh wait, I gotta put it in the stream.
Okay. Is just how much I look like Snoop Dogg.
I mean, I thought it was Snoop.
It's the Reface app, and it's uncanny our resemblance.
You look exactly like Snoop. Who you may be brothers.
I mean, and then me and Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I'm telling you. It's fun.
You can't laugh at that, especially like right. But I'll tell you one that kind of got me. It was really weird, actually. So here's me killing my 10-year-old son in the driveway.
You love that, don't you? Yeah, I mean, you showed it in the beginning. Just in case anybody missed it. Let me show it to you one more time.
That was the home run trot. That was me putting a jumper right in his face. And
Oh my gosh.
so I shared that, and I had like some fun responses. Like people were like, "Yeah, I'm like, you got to give it to him. We're super competitive in this house. I own my driveway. I'm not giving in to my kids because I know one day it's coming. They're gonna beat me on their own,
Yeah.
right? That day's coming. But right now, I still own them, and um, I joke around. Baseball wise, they've had great coaching. I think they're both surpassing me at 11 and 9, where I was athletically baseball wise. But I did play college basketball, so I'm like, that's one sport I'm not giving in to you.
Right.
So I
Right.
post this outside of TikTok, and people were like, "Yeah, give it to him." But I had one dude was like, "That's so mean of you to."
Why? To beat your kid?
like, so, and I don't know why I pay attention to that comment, but I deleted it. I was like, "You're done. I'm done with you. Out."
Delete, block. No. So we're talking about craziness on TikTok, right? And how it is fun, and you can see things that are a little bit crazy. So the Gorilla Glue girl, right? She was on TikTok, and if you haven't heard about this woman, and is it Tessica Brown. I'm blanking on her name. On TikTok shares that she put Gorilla Glue in her hair. She was in a rush and put glue in her hair to keep it in place. I don't know. I mean, and then was shocked that her hair didn't move. I don't really know what's so surprising about this. I'm really confused on how, and if somebody thinks that this was like not really a big deal and stupidity wasn't involved, please chime in, educate me, because I am like, that's just flat out stupid. Like, who would put Gorilla Glue in your hair, right? But the chick has an agent now and a merchandise line. I mean, for pure stupidity. Are you kidding me, Dennis?
Go ahead.
Right? So have you seen it? What are you bringing up?
The Gorilla Glue girl.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure people have heard of this Gorilla Glue girl already, because wasn't the doctor, didn't he practice in Youngstown prior to Beverly Hills, the one that figured it out? I saw that in my feed. In fact, I saw, there she is. There she is, right? She put that in her hair, and now she's totally confused on why her hair hasn't moved.
So here's an interesting story for you. We'll back up for a second. So about 8 years ago, I contracted a company when I started my business to help them to gain market share with their social media listening software in healthcare, very specific. So they had a footprint, big footprint in CPG, consumer product goods, and their software was an inbound customer relationship management tool, not like Salesforce that's outbound, but it was inbound. So when you call a call center, they know how to handle your problem, your complaint if you're a previous customer. Like, so what happened is that they recognized very early on that obviously we're making this shift, that customers were now taking to social media to complain about brands, which seems like very commonplace right now. But a decade ago, it was kind of like, okay, we have to manage this. We're going to manage it one off, but then how do you manage it at scale? So somebody implemented some social media listening software, and there was a lot of nuances to it, like natural language processing was built into it, and sentiment and analysis of posts, and then there was sentiment analysis of picture posts. So it was pretty deep. And even at the time when they brought it to market, there was like 250 players like in the market space. So I'm helping them break into healthcare. And then they started to hand me some existing clients to help them manage their business. They were down some sales reps, and it was like, do I take on more responsibility? So long story short, I did. And Gorilla Glue is based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and the company that I had account management responsibilities for. So we were in conversations with them to deploy the social media listening software over 8 years ago.
Okay.
And what we found at
that
that
she
time,
wasn't the only stupid one.
no, you're going to find that first of all. The second thing that we found, though, that the PR, I think the PR department or the social media department knew it, but the PR department didn't know it. And they knew it because of the social media listening tool, is that there's also a very high potent strand of marijuana, GG4, that has been nicknamed Gorilla Glue or the Gorilla or Glue, and it oftentimes gets tagged in social media as Gorilla Glue. A little bit of a problematic thing for Gorilla Glue, right? When their PR team's in the room, they're like, "Huh? We're getting hashtag Gorilla Glue and marijuana, a high strand of marijuana." So that being in the room for that conversation was a very interesting. Like, you're like, oh, oh. So now you fast forward, to 8 years. I don't know if they still leverage that technology or competitors, but it's wild to think. It's wild to think whether or not this was purposefully done or not.
she's suing a blogger who's saying that she made it up.
It's a really big what you call it, gamble to think that you could put Gorilla Glue in your hair, go viral, and then the outcome is agent, this, that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Now, one hit wonders. Have you heard from the Chewbacca mom since that she put the mask on?
I have actually. Well, maybe not on social, but I was in Atlanta at a conference. It was actually a book show. I went with a friend, and she was there speaking. I didn't get the opportunity to hear her speak, but I was super excited that she was there, and I wanted to. It just didn't happen.
I mean, the whirlwind of fame that came along with that, but capitalizing off of that long term, and what does that look like for an individual? I don't know. I mean, obviously, litigious lawsuits are one thing, but like, is this now? I guess there's people and brands that are out there that want this person to endorse their brand for misuse of a brand.
For the Gorilla Glue?
Right. So that's what you want to be known as. Like, so when you go pitch that and you're like, I mean, if you came to me and you're like, hey, I got the Gorilla Glue girl and we'll put her in your
Right.
TikTok feed and get you some followers, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I don't want somebody that maliciously misused my product.
Yeah.
And is capitalizing off that. Like, I know that there's people out there that'll sign that deal. I'm just not one of them.
Right. No, I'm not a fan of Gorilla Girl. I'm really not. Now, Chewbacca Mom, I am, because she made me laugh. When I watched that video, in fact, Jason turned that video on again just like last week, right? And I died laughing like I saw for the first time all over again. It really makes me laugh. Her laugh is contagious. Gorilla Glue Girl, not so much. It makes me scratch my head going, our society is getting dumber and dumber by the minute. I mean, I hate to say it, but come on. Come on.
Like, you didn't know?
Right. Like, where's the confusion? And again, educate me. If I'm missing something, I am open to listening to that. If there's something that people have been using Gorilla Glue in their hair for years and this is all new to me, like I will listen. I will absolutely listen. But where I stand right now, that is the dumbest thing I ever heard. And it blows my mind that we reward stupidity. Like, we are rewarding somebody who doesn't think, makes a huge mistake, right?
Well, let's just say this for a second, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
So there's disclaimers. There are disclaimers on alcohol
Yeah.
commercials. Like, like, obviously consuming this product while driving is a bad idea.
Yeah.
It impairs your ability to operate heavy, right? Drink responsibly, which is an oxymoron. In every gambling ad, it's a legal matter to say, like, you have to drop a gambling counseling addicts line on the advertisement, right? So
Yeah.
like it's the reason that we have to have these disclaimers is because you can never underestimate the stupidity of people
Yeah.
that have done or created an opportunity for.
Yep.
Right?
Right. I mean, how many times have I read a disclaimer and I'm like, why is this even here? And what's sad is that it's here because the company probably got sued because somebody did this and now they have to protect themselves.
Do you know that so where we live, there's a creek behind the house?
Yeah.
And they put signs up one day that says, "Don't drink the creek water."
Somebody was drinking it and got sick, or
so obviously we live in a smaller town. So I called the mayor. And the mayor called me back and I was like, I think it says stay out of the water and don't drink the water, right? Which are kind of two different things because you could, we go crayfishing and we're trekking through the water and we go through it. So I'm like, I was like, he goes, oh, well, what happened is, this is what happened. Somebody ended up with a cut. They got sick. It got staph infection. It got kind of serious. And so our attorneys suggested that we have to put up a sign like "Don't eat dirt" and don't drink creek water.
Well, now we have to add, don't put Gorilla Glue in your hair.
So now this Gorilla Glue, like they'd have to sit back. Like you ever get some Gorilla Glue or even like super glue on your fingers?
Yeah.
Like you're gluing something and your fingers start to stick together.
Yeah.
Like it's just common sense. Like you're like, well, I can't put my fingers
You would
together.
think it's common sense.
Yeah.
Clearly it's not common sense.
But the alternative to that though is I don't know of all the use case applications for hair care products, but when we're talking about extensions and things like that that go into women's hair, I know that some of them get stitched in, but don't other times that they glue that hair into?
Yes. Yes, and I've had that done, and it was a long time ago, but baby oil will get that out. But that's a product geared towards hair. It was developed, and maybe it wasn't originally developed for that, but it was used for that. That's not what she was doing. This was an extension. She was making her hair stay in place. So she used it on the top of her head to keep her hair in place because she didn't have oh gosh, I can't think of the name brand.
Here's a funny story for you. All right. Now this one gets me, and I may lose it, but
Oh gosh.
back in the day, we all had jobs out of college, or when we were in college. My dad got me and a lot of my buddies jobs at the steel mill, the foundry that he worked at, and we were night laborers, and we had a lot of different crappy jobs, and one of them was that we had to redo a men's locker room. I mean, like literally, like right, like I mean,
Yeah.
we literally redid the shower. Like none of us were flooring people. We laid tile. And then we had to paint it.
Okay.
So so at a certain point we're painting the locker room, and there's a guy that had no painting experience
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
So we go to paint the locker room, and like two or three of us are like, dipping the roller, dipping the roller in the rolling pan. You're dipping the brush, and you're painting the wall.
All right.
All right. Well, we look over at the one guy who never had any experience painting at all, and didn't think to watch the other guys in the room painting the walls. And we look over, and he's got his arm in the bucket all the way down to his elbow. He's getting paint on the brush.
Why?
He's like this, right? And we look over and we just start laughing. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you? He's like, we're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm getting paint on the brush, like just like you guys.
Oh.
And he takes his arm out and he starts painting the wall. So now he's got a paint from here all the way up to his elbow.
Oh my gosh.
So now,
Okay.
so Deanna, my point is this:
does he have an agent now too?
that was pre-social media. It's still just the funniest thing, right? And so you can't give come up with all the directions, right?
Correct. You can't.
You can sit here and dream up scenarios. Okay, well, we're going to put together the painting manual. We have to tell people now not to put their arm into the bucket of paint. Just dip the brush, because you don't like when we went out snowboarding last Friday. My son is like, "You never told us to do that." I'm like, "Dude, like I can't tell you every scenario. What am I supposed to do? Sit down and go through the 100-point checklist? Like, I don't know. I can't." So, in fairness, maybe to the girl,
I'm listening.
maybe in fairness to the girl, like maybe she just didn't know like what would happen. Like, if you wanted to have like a mohawk, how would you get that hair to stick up? Mousse? Do you go with pomade, or you're like, oh, I know Gorilla Glue will really help this to stand my mohawk on edge?
Well, she had Gorilla Glue in the house for something because that was available as she ran out the door. So she had an idea of its original use,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she used it ever before to realize how sticky it was and how it held. Uh, I mean, Gorilla Glue, and I still think, right? It's like, and although it wasn't Gorilla Glue, it was Crazy Glue's commercial. But as a kid, I remember seeing the guy hanging from the thing with the
Yeah,
helmet,
the helmet guy.
right? So I think I could put those in the same category. And I'm like, I still don't get it. I would love to hear something from someone that says, no, you can use, I mean, what's next for your eyelashes? I mean, what's next?
I've seen some funny responses back from like memes and things like that have made me laugh. I think that the thing that you have to be concerned about in this conversation is the copycat effect of social media.
It's happening already. Somebody else accidentally put Gorilla Glue in their hair.
So now the question is this good or bad for the brand?
So I think it's good for the brand. And the reason I think it's good is because a lot of people are talking about Gorilla Glue. I don't see it hurting the brand. It's not making the brand look stupid. It's making the other person look slightly incompetent. So I don't think it's hurting the brand at all. I mean, people are talking about Gorilla Glue. So if somebody didn't know what Gorilla Glue was, they do now. And they know how it should be properly used. Hopefully. So let's
No,
talk about the Clubhouse.
no arguments there. I'm gonna yeah, no arguments there. So go ahead, Clubhouse. I have actually have an interesting post on LinkedIn that I do want to share because it was a topic that you brought up, um, about things to discuss today, which I think maybe we'll tease next week.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so go ahead, Clubhouse.
On Clubhouse. So, first off, I am in love with Clubhouse. Let me tell you. And I know you were like, "What?" I'm spending most of my time on Clubhouse right now. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it. Are you using it? Is anybody using it right now? I know right now Clubhouse, and if you're not familiar with it, right now the only ones who can get on and use it, you have to have an iPhone or an iPad to be able to use it. So if you've got a Droid, it's not going to work, or a Samsung device, it won't work. Unfortunately, not yet, not at this time. I've heard rumors that they are starting to work
Yeah,
on that. They just sent invitations out to, I think, Asia or something to invite them. I do have 6 invites. I think Dennis said he has 2 invites. If somebody has an iPhone, is not on Clubhouse and wants to check it out, in the comments, just let me know who you
I
are.
have 3 invites.
3? Okay, perfect. So we've got 9 together, 9 invites.
How would you describe Clubhouse for people that don't know what Clubhouse is?
So it is a social audio instead of a social media, right? So all these platforms that we're familiar with are more of a social media. We're posting videos, we're posting images, more of a something, we're posting media, right? This is not. This is almost as if you are entering rooms. It's almost like the old chat rooms, right? That you can go in. Each room has a different topic. There's speakers and moderators who control the room, and you can pick those topics and join. You listen in the audience. If you have something to share, then you can share it. The moderator will add you to come up to the virtual stage, and then you can speak and share as well. But it's all audio, and it's just really, I love it.
Here's where I think here's my think on it. Granted, talk radio, like, huge big ordeal. But on the same note, like everything that's been trending, longer than the past 2 years, 5, 7 years, video, right? We want to see and be able to feel and connect, and that's why we do video. Um, and a lot of other reasons. And I think that when they made the Alexas and the Googles of the world, they screwed up initially. And what you're seeing in the second, third generations is they actually put a screen in there. Because it's like I visually, it depends. If you're an auditory person, you might gravitate towards Clubhouse versus being a visual person versus a kinesthetic person. But like your Alexa's like, you're like, hey Alexa, hey Google, blah blah blah, and then like why not just why
Nothing's playing right now.
That's my Google. So why not just have like an iPad or so I don't know, I get it. I just think that the layer of video for me of a bunch of people being on there and being able to see them would be an interesting wrinkle.
It would. I mean, I'm more visual, so I definitely like the video and being called up. But I will say, the thing I like about the audio, right, is that I've taken the stage several times. In groups, I have no idea who anybody is. I don't know if I would have been as likely to take the stage if it was video. And I don't really know what the difference is, but there's something about not being actually seen that there's still a little bit of that being anonymous, right? But you're not, because it's linked to your Instagram. But my Instagram following has grown because of Clubhouse. I've connected with people on Instagram. I've connected with a lot of different people. This reminds me of when I first started and I was on Twitter. And I connected with some amazing people on Twitter. That was the first, aside from MySpace, that was the first social media platform that I was on where I wasn't surrounded by friends and family or people who knew me. I was just out in the world.
You get caught up in the shiny new object syndrome?
I really don't, because I check everything out, like you said. And I've checked out all the other. I have not checked out MeWe yet, but I did check out Parlor. I've checked out Local. I've checked out whatever has come up. I was on Periscope for a while, and I get bored really easily with a lot of platforms if it's just not what I'm looking for or not what one of my client needs. So I really don't. But I like I learn a lot on Clubhouse. That's what I like about it. I'm introduced to different people.
I have to commit to spending some more time with it. I think in its infancy, I think that there's an opportunity to have, like we were discussing, I think that there's an opportunity to do this podcast in that scenario on Clubhouse. I think that there's live radio opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it. I really like it. If you are on Clubhouse, follow me. I will follow you back.
If you want an invite, drop a comment.
If you have an iPhone, you have to have an iPhone.
You gotta have an iPhone.
Poor Megan Sutherland. She wants to be on Clubhouse in the worst way and check it out. But right now she can't. But hopefully soon.
All right. So I came across this post on LinkedIn today, and I think that it's a timely post. And the reason I think that is because we were talking earlier about this topic. Actually, you brought this topic to me. So, very simple. What no one will tell you about owning a business. This is probably not just a one-part series for us, right? But this is good. Number one, it's frustrating. Many times you feel like your efforts are going nowhere. Can you relate?
Yeah. Yes.
Number two, you will feel alone at times. Most of your friends and families have not made the leap to being an entrepreneur. Therefore, it's tough for them to empathize with you.
True. Very true. Now, my whole family is entrepreneurs. So, but Jason is not. And Jason grew up in a family. They're all 9-to-5ers. Nobody is an entrepreneur on his side of the family. So he struggles. He doesn't struggle. He's super supportive. But I never realized that disconnect because my whole family everybody has a business.
But here's what happens. So, like on Sundays, there's a comfortability level with those people because they understand,
Hmm.
but then everybody starts their thing on Monday,
Yeah.
right? So, like, it's just different. Like, yes, they understand, but then everybody gets engrossed in their business, if you will. You will fail often. There's no manual on how to run a business well. Some claim there is, but for the most part, you have to figure out things on your own. Hearing these, you might feel discouraged to start a business, but I'm here to tell you all of the bad things I mentioned will make you stronger and dissipate with time. Keep going. Just some thoughts and advice from your friendly neighborhood CPA. And
Love it.
Jose, the CPA, I don't know how he and I became a first. They understand, but then everybody gets engrossed in their business, if
Hmm.
you will.
Oh, I just I lost you. I don't know what happened. I'm like, where'd
I
he go?
hit
I'm
I
over here.
hit the eject button. So I think that next
I'm
week,
like, where did he go? What happened?
I know, right? And when would I think next week, I think this is a topic that we should really we should really get into and really talk about something that you've not you're going into business for yourself. Are you thinking about it or not? What have you learned along the way?
Yeah.
I'm willing to share. Um, I'm willing to share the wins, but what I said into my comments to Jose was like, I don't think there's a level of how much of the failure that you can share that you don't, because you're worried about going out of business as a business owner. So, like, how much of the failure can you actually share for people? Because if you look at it, like everybody on LinkedIn that has their own business is freaking Mark Zuckerberg.
Right. And and most people hide what, like that 20% that they don't tell everybody, that they just keep it private.
Oh, I think it's far greater than that.
Well, I think it is too, but I think on social media it's far greater than that. I think on with your close circle, you'll be more likely to share more, but you still keep that pretty private.
Oh,
But
I'll next week I won't mention names and clients, but I'll tell you about like some complete dumpster fires in 8 years that I thought like, "Oh, this is going to be the end
yeah.
of me."
Well, I'll share. I do it all the time anyhow. I'll share stories as well about just starting off and mistakes I made. And I think that's a great topic, right? So, what are mistakes that you make when starting a small business? And we can even open it up. And I think you and I started this debate in your class when you invited me to speak to your students years ago. Can you be taught to be an entrepreneur? I remember you asking me that, and I'm like, no, as I stand in front of your class of future entrepreneurs. But
No, that class was a social media kind of quasi marketing class that I just and I inherently have an issue with colleges that have a entrepreneurship program.
okay, I didn't know that. Because
Yeah,
afterwards, I
absolutely.
said, I was like, no, I honestly think like, can you sharpen skills that you have? Yes, but I think you either have that entrepreneur spirit or you don't have that entrepreneur in you, and those skills can be sharpened. But if you're dealing with someone who doesn't have that already within them, you're not going to get them over. You're
I
not going to.
think tactically, there's things that you can learn, like sales school, marketing strategy, finance, funding. Those are things that
Yeah.
you can learn to help you execute as an entrepreneur. But I don't think that there's a class out there that teaches you, um, the ability to want to take on and risk and handle the risk and manage the risk and the reward of what comes along with that.
Yeah. We can finish this conversation next Wednesday.
And I'll leave you with this, because I think that it's the mentality is of the worker is that it's a safe haven to have a job, but you necessarily maybe don't control your own destiny. So I'll tease that for this week. That's my thought on it. We'll get more into it next week.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Dennis. Thanks for joining me again. And thanks for everybody who tuned in, who's watching this on the replay. Thank you. Let us know what you want to hear, what topics you're concerned about, or you just want to hear us fight about, whatever. We're up for it. And we will catch you next Wednesday at noon.
Next Wednesday at noon.
Yep, Eastern.
Make that post. Maybe we put the topic out a week in advance and we tease it for like a week.
Okay.
If you create it, I'll share it.
Done.
I'm going to go get my hair done. I got to run. I got an appointment.
Whatevs. I'll catch you later. Bye.